flies in spare time. Making a careful preparation using chloroform to reductor, he locks Miranda in his cellar. Very interesting, I must give this a read. But yes. But serial killers Leonard Lake and Charles Nietzsche was also obsessed with the collector as well, and arrested in 1985, and the two killing partners raped, tortured, photographed, and murdered 25 victims. Welcome back to part 4 of our 4-part miniseries of Tami Lynn Leppert, A Pageant Queen's Death. We will be finishing off our miniseries, but before I jump into that, welcome. This is the TCL podcast. I do have a Patreon that you can join. For episodes scheduled to come out, I also have a merch shop for all your true crime gear. For any information or any updates on my channel or podcast, you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Twitter. Alright. With that being said, why don't we dive into today's episode, shall we? Um, so with that, okay. So after murdering Elizabeth Dodge for her car, Wilder then headed nearly 400 miles to the Logan Airport in Boston. He then entered the airport with a firearm inside his coat, purchased a one-way ticket to Los Angeles for Tina. He then gave her $100 to get a taxi or whatever else she needed. Tina Marie was clearly suffering from Stockholm Syndrome, a survival strategy where the victim develops an emotional bond with the abductor, common to those from extreme trauma. She perceived Wilder as an all-powerful and feared man, and explained why he was cooperating. However, Wilder also displayed a form of sympathy for Tina Marie, sparing her life, and she would be one of the lucky ones. Though haunted by the experience for years, Tina Marie would go on to speak about her experience publicly in a story featured on the FBI Untold Stories. Now, this was the end of the road for Wilder, as he began driving north toward Canada, stopping at a gas station in Colebrook, New Hampshire, with only a dozen miles from the Canadian border. And my nose itches for some reason. Anyway, um, and he was Canadian border when the two New Hampshire state troopers spotted him at a gas pump. And faced with capture, Wilder tried to retrieve his Colt Pattern 357 from the vehicle, but Trooper Leo Chuck Jellison grabbed him, grabbed him from behind, and he began to struggle. Two shots were fired, one hitting Jellison and passing through Wilder's chest. The other bullet also hit Wilder directly in the chest, killing him instantly. Jellison did recover from his injuries. And on Friday the 13th, of all days for that to happen, Friday the 13th, why does that make me excited? That's just weird. Anyway, Wilder's trail of terror was over, but he had also left a living hell for the families and the unanswered graves. Now, it would later be reported that the handcuffs, roll of duct tape, especially designed for electric cords for his victims, a sleeping bag, 357 revolver and ammunition with a copy of the collector was found in Wilder's possession. English author poet Peter Fowles wrote and published The Collector in the early 1960s in an international best-selling novel. It was hailed as the first modern psychological thriller. A tale of obsessive young love from Frederick Clegg and the City Hall clerk that collects butterflies in spare time. Making a careful preparation using chloroform to reductor, he locks Miranda in his cellar. Very interesting, I must give this a read. But yes. But serial killers Leonard Lake and Charles Nietzsche was also obsessed with the collector as well, and arrested in 1985, and the two killing partners raped, tortured, photographed, and murdered 25 victims. There are at least 100 more victims reported by the FBI. Now, here's the question. Here's the thing. Whether he's responsible for a disappearance, we may never know, and that's honestly the sad part right there. Her disappearance remains unsolved with dozens of others. Like other serial killers, Wilder was able to assimilate and operate for years, escalating from the frequent killings and causing some rise of a spree killer. However, those of us actually chasing these monsters always outnumber them. Now, her story does continue. She is gone but not forgotten. Tami Lynn is not forgotten either. Her sister Susan maintains her Facebook page dedicated to her memory, and Susan says she continues to look for evidence for her sister's disappearance and whereabouts. She also is requesting the public provide any information they can. I will provide a link for that in the description. But another suspect in Tammy's case was John Brennan Clutchy, a serial killer, kidnapper, and sexual abuser known as the vampire rapist. He was active from the late 1970s and mid 80s in the same general geographic area, but there doesn't seem to be any evidence connecting Clutchley and Leppert. Clutchley committed suicide in prison in 2002. Leppert opened. So, in September 1992, her disappearance was covered in an episode of Unsolved Mysteries. It is, if you want to go back and look it up, it is season 5, episode 1. I will try to find it and link it, but if I can't, I just know I tried. Um, it provides an interesting look into Tammy's case and for many of the players in her story. But that is it for this episode. I will see y'all next time. Y'all have a great day. A happy summer.